beautiful in there, bro. Trust me.
Beautiful, man.
Oh, Jerome, where you from?
What do you mean, country?
Yeah, nation.
Ghana and English, British.
Oh, sorry.
No way.
But I get Moroccan.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even ask you that, you know.
Yeah, I get all sorts. But
Have you been to Ghana?
no, I'm planning to go this year, end of the year,
December?
October. But I hear December's the time to go.
December is the time. I was going to say, if you're going to go December, I'll probably see you there.
Are you going?
I was going to go last year, but I had some complications, but I'm going this year for sure.
Jeez. Yeah, I'll see you there.
Yeah, my friends, like my really, really good friends from Ghana, so I want to go there. Like, he's been telling me a lot about it. So
I've been told, just in terms of, obviously they've got this thing where you know, like they're asking people to come home.
yeah.
You know, expats come home.
Seriously?
See the motherland. See.
Oh, but I just
land.
like to visit, not
To buy
to
land.
live.
Yeah, to like
Wow.
invest in land. They've got a lot of economy, a lot of
Yeah,
technology, a lot of investment.
It's booming up.
Yeah, but I just want to go there for family history. I just want to go there for just seeing how slavery played out.
Just to get in touch with that side.
Yeah, man. Because obviously, growing up, not really knowing who you are,
Yeah.
speaking to your dad, not really helpful. Then, you know what I mean. So
I hear you, man. Alright, so to get it started, I'm gonna ask you, like, it's not a weird question, but like, what's your favorite quote?
one of my favorite quotes, I've got loads, but I think one of my favorite quotes is to grow through what you go through. Because it's about anything that happens, you can grow through it.
Yeah.
You know, we get conditioned to suffer,
Yeah.
not grow. So for me, when I heard that quote, I was like, yeah, you don't have to suffer from what you go through. You can grow through it.
That's just, it's kind of like, I think for me, the way I look at that as well is like I feel like just failures in general, like failure is like really important in life, because I feel like people think that they're going to have this path of like, there's not going to be no failures, like no rejection or nothing. And they think somehow they're going to get to the goal. But actually, like those two things are like super integral, like to making it happen, you know, like to make it, whatever the success is, like at some point, something's not going to go correct. I think that's just important. I don't know why people are scared. I used to be scared of it too, like as well, you know, like I don't know why, but it's a weird thing to be scared of.
Trust me. There's another one that comes to mind as well. And it's from my foster nan who passed. And she'd say, listen, boy, always read the small print. And it never made sense until I got a little bit older. And then the small print is the small print that everyone comes from. So, you know, they come with an offer, but then everyone has a small print beneath the offer. It's like with the banks.
Yeah.
Go and sign a bank account and you're like, yeah, the small print will have all these different things, terms that you've just agreed to.
That no one reads.
Yeah. Basically. So when she was saying that, she was talking about not only the banks and everything, but just everything in life comes with a small print. So take time to observe so you can understand small print through the unspoken.
Would you say that some people as well, like they come with a small print?
Every
They'll
single
come
person.
with like, it seems like they're trying to say that they want to do this thing, but really and truly they're trying to do something else.
Every single person comes with a small print, and that runs through their experiences. So like you can tell through their micro behaviors, the way they move, the way they respond to you, the way their eyes look at you, all of that kind of stuff. So
are all the small prints bad though?
No.
I
think everyone comes with a small print. It's not bad or good. It's just about knowing. Like everyone comes with a small print. So it's more about understanding than judging. So for instance, if someone comes to me and they're moving mad and I'm like, yo, your energy's off, rather than me judging and saying, oh, the energy's off, it's like, actually, what has led to your energy being off? And how can I meet your need to feel connected?
But you're willing to have a conversation about that, where I feel like from my experience, like most people aren't. And you're willing to,
they're not Bane.
And you're coming from like a beautiful place. You're coming from like, like I wanna have a conversation about this, rather than like I'm trying to like kind of like diss you or put you down because of.
I think the thing is, because we get conditioned to think about the pursuit of happiness. The pursuit of happiness needs darkness. You know, and so we try and pursue this happiness, but yet we try and avoid this darkness. Like the darkness can't serve us. That's why I was saying Bane, because Bane has that quote in Batman where he's like, I was molding it. The reason why he's saying that is because by being molded and growing up in that darkness and all of that stuff, he doesn't fear it. So when he's in it, it's just like, I recognize it because I've grown up in a lot of trauma and darkness.
Yeah.
I don't fear it. I understand it, but I also know that it can serve us if we allow it to. And that's the thing, is that not many people have allowed themselves to allow the experiences to serve them.
Yeah.
I think that's the flaw in Batman. The fact that Batman is, or even Bane, is not fearful of death.
Yeah.
I think that's his flaw. The fear of death is what makes us do the impossible.
Yeah. And that's
interesting as well.
Well, to be fair, Batman as a story is really interesting because they make Joker the bad guy. But yet when you see Joker's story, you're like, oh, is he the bad guy? Or is he a product of his environment with understanding? So when you watch the Joker movie, you're like, whoa, he went through a hell of a lot of stuff to become that guy. And he's still not that guy. He's just the behaviors.
The interesting thing about Batman, he represents some people in real life who'd like to be like Batman, but they can't because Batman doesn't have certain consequences that other people would.
That's
it. It's sort of like a vigilante. He's not necessarily a superhero. He's a vigilante, right? Because
he can kill people and get away with it. And like, to me, is that good? It's not really good, is it? And so it's like, that's what society does. It plays a good versus bad kind of character, and there is no good and bad. It's just characters with information.
There's this really interesting reference that I remembered from Batman movie. I can't remember which one, but I've got this from two people, Robin Lockhart and Bob Singer, like really, really amazing people.
From Robin, my guy.
Yeah. You know Robin, yeah?
Yeah, I know Robin.
That's lit. That's lit.
And Bob, I know Bob and Robin.
Yeah. That's my people. But they use a reference of like, why do we fall? And that's a Batman reference. Do you know the answer to that one?
So we can learn to pick ourselves back up.
Yeah.
And to me that's powerful because like I feel like I've been in points in my life, and I think most human beings have in it, but just in their own different ways, and you go through different experiences. But like I've fell down, you know what I'm trying to say, and when I realize it's like, even though I fell down, like I'm gonna pick myself back up again, it's powerful. And the fact that I know that I have the ability to do that, that's powerful in itself.
I love that. It just reminds me of like the Rocky one. You know, it's like, not about how hard you get hit. It's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward.
But till this day, that's powerful stuff, man. I think because like for me, it reminds me of that inner power and essence. Because sometimes we can forget, but I can forget sometimes. You know,
that's the beauty of movies, man. That's why I love movies so much, because like they do things like, it's more time it's fictional, but like you make a movie based on real life, right? So every movie is based on like, even superhero movies, they are human characters. Like they look like humans, right? Yeah. So it's like that is enough for me to look at that and think, Superman is relatable, or give me a fiction. Thor is relatable because these people, they look like me, therefore I can almost relate. And then that's where you kind of look at that lesson and think, okay, cool, let me apply it to me and learn off that. Plus, human people made that stuff. That creators made that stuff. Yeah. So it's that constant lesson and just letting that lesson sink into you and applying it is. I love movies, man.
It's weird you say superheroes, because actually, when I was a kid, I always saw myself as Superman. And I didn't really clock it until the teenage years. But then I looked at all superheroes, because I grew up in care, so I didn't grow up with my parents. And I realized that most of the superheroes you see didn't grow up with their parents. So like Clark Kent, he grew up in a completely different planet. Hulk didn't grow up with his parents. His parents had disappeared. Spider-Man didn't have his Aunt May and uncle. You know, so loads of those heroes had no parents. And I was like, whoa, that's like me. And so that was kind of inspiring, because you start to see there's power in these stories. And I don't watch like TV the same way, entertainment. They're actually lessons. There is stuff in the movies now, you're like, whoa, that's a real message. Like, if you look at Marvel's got bombs all day. Like,
I think that's a special skill that you have as well, and obviously some people have too. But I think that's a lens, and that's a powerful lens that you've got. You can look at something, anything, and you can learn from it.
Everything's information. So like when you look at Thor and Endgame, it's really interesting that Endgame was played when it was, and literally a year or two later, you've got coronavirus. And what is coronavirus meant to do? Wipe out half of the world. And so you start to see that there's these subliminal messages in everything. It's just whether we choose to see it or not.
Yeah.
You know, you saying that it reminded me of this quote from a recent Marvel show that came out like a year ago. You love this.
How do you know? I'm just playing.
Was it what is? Oh, what is it? What is
Oh, sorry, my bad.
What?
No, I distracted you.
What is grief if not love persevering?
Ooh.
That one's bro. Because like he's like, oh, I never experienced love, therefore I won't feel the lack of. So it's almost like looking at the bright side of a dark tunnel.
Yeah.
Like what is love? What is grief if not love persevering? That one's like right in my chest, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, hit me, man. Love that one.
It's the ones where you got to think, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do you introduce yourself?
A human with a heart.
I love that.
Because my heart's beating,
Yeah.
and the characteristics I have are human. So I'm flawed. I have fun. I cry. I love. I persevere. I do everything that a human does. So human with a heart. Keep it simple as well, because where I work, obviously, people get attached to status and ego.
Yeah.
And so what I do is I help people to see that this ego or status you're giving me, it creates a dynamic which is an illusion. I don't have any power over you unless you give it to me.
Yeah.
And so that's how I introduce myself. I've got all these titles of you know, my roles in life, but
you come like a blessing at where you work, because you remind people who like that they're human as well.
Absolutely, bro.
And then they might get lost in a source of all these different statuses and stuff, and then they come across you and you just go like, I'm a human with a heart, and they just go like, what? Like,
I find it weird because obviously I'm a community worker.
Yeah.
Where I've been out in the community for like over 15 years now as a young person as well. And when you were trying to bang on those doors, no one cared.
Yeah.
Then as soon as you get a title in a certain space, the doors are open. Everyone wants to meet with you. So I find that really interesting. But
especially if you're in a position, if they need something.
Yeah, like more time people are coming to me because they think they can get money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not about money. You are money. So I don't understand why we keep chasing money like it's an acquiring thing. Money is an inquiring thing. It's about we'll attract money once you have everything within you. So yeah, I find myself just kind of aiding people to realize that no, you are it. Like, don't come to me as if I'm it. You're it. You know, reminding them, because people talk about you and like, I'm great at what I do, yes, but I still have to remind you who you are, because you are also great. Do you know what I mean? So, but that's the beauty of the journey, is that you exchange, and then when you have these connections, like me and you have connected, and I'm like, yo, when we had that meeting, I walked away like, yes, this is it. Like just having those gems of meetings when you think you're coming for something, I think and then we just connect on a different level.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's not even about the other.
It's not about that.
That's what became secretly became about something else.
Because
and do you know what's funny? Like obviously, he was coming today, and I was speaking to Aladdin, because obviously usually like me and Aladdin, we just have a discussion, and he's gonna come on the pod and stuff. And I was like, "Who's Jerome?" I said, "Don't worry, bro. Like Jerome's a lit guy." You know, I just said, "Don't worry." Yeah, Jerome's got different energy. Yeah. You know, like talking about. I was just thinking about value. Like value just came up for me, you know, because he was talking about like when people want something and stuff. And I think I've had like a really interesting experience, and I've started to realize something around value. Like I realized that just because someone makes a lot of money, they don't necessarily, it doesn't mean they add more value to the world, and vice versa. Like just because someone doesn't make as much money, they can add loads of value, and it can be that way around as well. Someone can be making not a lot of money and still not add any value. So I don't think value is measured by, I guess, like rational thinking or rational experience. And I think value is more about feeling, you know. So how do I end up feeling if I have a conversation with you or with another person, or you know, can they bring value to me rather than how much they get paid? And I found that really fascinating. And I think that kind of came up for me now as we were talking. Yeah, it's really interesting,
bro. You're right. I mean, if we really get down to what life is all about, it's all about feelings. So people are chasing feelings. They're not chasing holiday. Yeah. They want the holiday, that the holiday is going to bring them access to feelings. And so I'm like you, bro. I value the strength of your heart. I value when someone, despite the external factors, they can see you, respond to who you are, show up, not get distracted by the BS, you know, and just be purely in this moment in front of you. Because at the end of the day, you can't go to the grave with your stuff. So, and what's left is memories.
Which leads me to the next question: how can we do more? How can we introduce people to more of that, of who they are? Like, and this is just like, it's coming up for me now, and this is what you said. It's like, you can't actually take it to the grave.
No.
And I think we're already doing it.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of people that are doing it. So I don't want to say it as if it's not happening, because like, you're one of those that are doing it. I believe that the best way we could do this would be in schools naturally, but the schools they're schooling you. It's not giving space for learning.
Yeah, I don't think schools are built to let us in. I don't think they want us there.
Schools are, unfortunately, they're prisons, because they trap you into a mindset, which is like the mindset is, I am cargo on a ship and I'm on the conveyor belt, and I just have to fit the progression narrative. And it's not aspirational. When you go to private schools now, you really see education. They teach you about the crowds, how to study the popular mind, how to control societies. They teach you about the system of control, the difference between law and legal, who you are as an individual, as a human being versus the straw man. So it's very clear that we are taught different in different fractions. So public schools are taught to be public robots and follow narratives. And you see that through, when you look at the kind of industries young people in public schools they go to kind of the typical music, you know, teachers, youth workers, all this stuff. How do you get to become an astronaut in a public school? It's not promoted to you. So it just shows you that there's a door that's closed. So I think the key for us in a sense of understanding your value and learning these things is about us taking ownership in our own communities, in our own spaces, and having blueprints which are tangible, which you can share. So like, so many people, again, it's attached to ego, where they will go and they'll have a wicked program, but they want to run it. They're like, I need to run this program. For me, it's about, if I've got a good set of tools that are amazing, everything I do with you should be able to take and do with someone else. They should be able to take and do something else. The ripple effect.
But that's the process. So when you're talking about tools, we're talking about, actually, I think, you're talking about the process, right? Yeah. Because I feel like sometimes, and this is the sense that I get sometimes, especially in youth work and other things, like, people care about the outcomes too much, but I think it's the process that will get us to the outcomes. So I don't think people need
income.
Yeah.
What about the in?
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I agree with you on that one. Speaking of education as well, I haven't fact checked this yet, but I've seen it this morning. They're saying that apparently whoever's gonna fail the GCSEs, I think in maths and English and whatever, they won't be able to go to university. Or at least that's what they're trying to do. But I was just thinking, this is really interesting, because like, where's that coming from? Number one, I don't know if it's factual. But if it is factual, I was thinking, where's that coming from? And I was thinking, actually, that's because universities are kind of dying. You know, with all the technology advancing and knowledge is being kind of like out there, and different pathways of getting to certain positions in life and whatnot. So I was thinking of that. I was thinking maybe that's just a move to make education more appealing or more valuable as a kind of like a business move. And I was like, that's actually really fascinating if that's what they're doing.
No, it's saying so students that don't pass maths and English, they can't get student loan. So
so they can't get student loan.
They can probably still go uni, but just can't get a loan.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the students that are going to need probably money,
can't get money,
are not going to get a loan because they didn't get. This really makes sense. And this shows you the hypocrisy of this madness of the system. Like, who makes that decision? clearly someone who's not got a logical mind, but actually is in a weird place.
But that has to be a business move, though, right?
It's a business
yeah.
move.
Because it could also be like forcing desperation.
And I was going to say that. So my thing is that if you create a desperation of a need, if a society or a group of people need you, you can control them. And that's all it is about. It's about control.
No, but that's a good point. But what I was trying to say is like forcing, like if I'm in a desert, I will survive longer, because if I'm in a desert and I don't know my way home, or like I'm stuck in the desert, I will find a way to survive, because the human brain would always find a way to survive. Desperation creates solutions.
Or you'll just die.
Yeah. But, I mean, yeah. But the point is, like, stuff like this will create desperation, and desperation creates solutions. So, like, if I'm in year 10 or whatever, and I'm hearing, if I don't pass maths and English, I can't go uni, and I'm an aspired doctor, an aspired yada, and I need to go uni. That desperation, I'm not going to be as slacky. I'm going to be okay, cool. I need to actually pattern up. I need to do it. I need to study. So I want to. Otherwise, I can't go get my student loan, and my parents can't afford to pay my uni, whatever. So
I hear you, but I also think there's something on the outside conditions that have been created. So if you've grown up with a strong household and you've got strong morals and values and identity intrinsically imprinted within you, then you could do that. That desperation will create. But if you haven't, and you become hopeless, which we've seen, then what it creates is a control mechanism of like, actually, okay, now you can't do that, then you can go here. You're going to have to go on these courses, which are government funded, but it programs a certain way of thinking.
It makes the shittier option the more
appealing.
But it also adds value to the
benefits.
It also adds value to university, right? Like to the degree automatically, because they go, cool, it's much more rarer to get it. And I think, especially in this country, I think it was so easy to get into university, and everyone could get a student loan. Most of the people get a student loan to go to university. So if that's the case, then automatically the value of that degree and whatever, it kind of goes down. What
goes up?
Oh, so if everyone can get into uni.
Oh, if anyone.
Oh yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So if everyone can get into uni, it goes down. With this thing, and this is, I always seen uni as a business. And what does a business do? Like, they advertise and they go to other places and try to promote the products and do all of these different things. Uni literally does the same thing. And even when the fees went up, I can't remember, it was like 2007, 2008. It went from £3,000 to 9. That's not even a half. That's not like crazy. That's ridiculous. To suddenly just wake up the next day and go, it's going to be £9,000 now. There has to be a business.
Sadly, everything in our society is a business. Every single thing. So the NHS is a business. The fire service is a business. The police is a business. The governments are a business. They're all registered as corporate companies. Yeah. If you look on, there's a website called Dun & Bradstreet, and you could see they're listed, the United Kingdom Corporation. It's all business. It's all down to how they can negate you into cons that tracks you. And
do you want to get into it as well? Yeah, go on, carry on, and after that I'll drop it after.
Oh, okay, into that stuff.
Yeah, because I was like, that you listen,
can't hide it, because
when you start telling me about that, like, that just blew my mind, like all the common law stuff. And
I mean, it's sad because you can't, like, it's coming to the surface now. It's not sad, it's actually interesting because these people are so bloody clever. Like the fact that they're able to manipulate a system like this, and then use language to reinforce to you what they're doing. It's crazy. Like even universities, and historically it used to be called universal studies. So they would study the universe, study the plants, study everything around you. But where certain people were getting certain information, like, okay, we can actually create energy through the air. This was like, oh, we can't have everyone knowing that, because we've got to somehow maximize money out of people. And this is why when we say people are money, you are money. Realize that you are absolutely money, because they need your energy to build whatever it is and dangle a carrot. And the carrot is a promissory note.
Yeah, attention. What's it? Attention is marketable.
Yeah,
like as long as you have my attention, you can just squeeze as much milk out of me as you want. But the second I got cut off the attention,
you know what's fascinating about attention as well? With what you're saying, attention is energy. Like people are giving attention, the energy to something.
What does it actually break it up?
Attention.
Tension.
Yeah, at tension.
You're always at tension
All the time.
This is Leo knows this about me. I love language. I love this stuff.
He loves this stuff. I love this stuff as well. So like this is like
So,
this can't get any better.
and
That's so
linguistics is like
Yeah.
the most if there's something fundamental that people out there need to really start looking at is the language and linguistics and what things mean, because they are spells. Spell into you. It just gets crazy. So like the system, so if you want me to break that down, how I found out about this kind of illusionary system was actually going through a stress, a trauma, where I was like, oh my God, having to move house, lost my house and my job on the same day because my brother got charged of a murder and they were on to me and all these things. And then so I come back from Mexico, Viva la Mexico, come back and I got, just bare dramas. Ended up in this house in Greenwich and there was a ship. And I don't know why, I just was in a kind of like a trance. And I'm looking at the ship and I just started getting downloads like, yo, the system is a ship. And then I started looking into, my friend was like, bro, have you looked into common law? I was like, no. So I looked into common law, looked at this ship again and it started making sense. Like, oh my God, everything's based around the ship. And so how I explain it to people is like, so when you have a ship, the ship has to run on water, otherwise known as current, otherwise known as currency. So our ship is run by currency. Currency, aka the river, ends at the bank, and that's why currency ends at a bank. The ship has to go to the bank, and when it goes to the bank, it makes a deposit or a withdrawal. That's why when you go to the bank, the ship makes a deposit or withdrawal. Every shop you go to, they make a sale. When you're on a ship, you set sail. You go to court on a ship, there's a court. But when you go to a court in the system, and this is real, any court you go to, you'll see it looks like a ship. It's wooden with a flag of the country and the picture of the head of state, which is the Queen for us. And you can look up pictures on, and you'll see, oh my God, it resembles a ship. When a ship, it docks. So when you go into the ship, it docks. When you go into court, you dock. And then every port you go to, you have to get a passport. Then you're seen
It's
like
gonna go crazy in a sec.
My mind is gonna fucking
transport. Every port you go to, you got to be transported. So transport, and that's why we have public transport. We are cargo. So then, obviously, every ship would have a contract, a con that tracks you, a con that is sent to you to steal your gold or whatever it is, and that's why they would have the contracts. And then you have things like legislation and acts of parliament for bills. A bill is a money-making order. You only get a bill when you go to a restaurant or when you've paid for something. So when you put a bill through parliament, you're putting a money-making order, and then they act. It becomes an act, which is pretending for a money-making order. So they tell you, and that's why you are citizens in a ship. Citizenship.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm fascinated with? Yeah, this is like the way you just described that. I think, like for me, that just when he was telling me that time we met, that blew my mind. Like this, it still blew my mind hearing it for the second time. And I'm wondering if people in the government actually know those meanings, or because I'm like they're just probably part of something they might not even understand.
There's I can't remember what the theory is, but basically when you have the people in powers pulling the strings, the aim of the game is that the people below the ladder, in different parts, I see it like a triangle. They're not meant to, they know as little as possible about the above tier. Yeah. So even like with police officers, your on the beat police officers won't know the difference generally between common law and legislation. Yeah. They will think it's all law. Even the law, you mix up the law, it's wealth. When you mix it up, it's interesting. But they won't know the difference. So when sometimes if I've been stopped by police, I'll say to them, hey officer, amazing, you're doing your job today. Love what you're doing. You're putting your life at risk. Just want to confirm, are you on your oath today? And they're like, What do you mean? I'm just saying, I'm making sure you're on your oath, because under common law, there's 3 premises. Do not cause injury, harm or loss. And that's it. So can you confirm that I've caused injury, harm or loss anywhere? And I operate under common law, and I also have my own common law birth certificate and my own common law ID.
I can confirm I've seen it.
I've got it on with me if you wanted to see it. So I could show you that. And it just makes them know that you're not playing. Their sergeants, however, like the constable, the chief of them would know common law, the difference. They're meant to know, because when they arrest you, they have to go to a example of law that they've used to arrest you.
Yeah.
So before they take you to the station, they have to have an example of, this is the case law we're using to arrest them. But that can get tied into legislation. So it's just knowing the difference. Like the law has started from the Magna Carta, and the Magna Carta is universally agreed, and it's common law, or what they call natural law. But legislation is more about status, statutes. Statutes is like status, it basically spells status. And statutes and acts are all about control. It's all about control. And how you know that? The proof is in our current government. There's people been protesting about Black Lives Matter, protesting about this, protesting about... They still go and do... They still have gone and raised all of the money.
Even the word protesting. Come on, he's gonna start breaking everything down.
Yeah, it's
like testing, like protest, like trying to test something out.
You're trying to test if they can hear your voice. Yeah. And that's what protesting is. And the reality is they cannot hear your voice.
Because it's pro something and it's a test.
Yeah, it's a test. Yeah. What I find really interesting about protesting is that they have the cheek to never even engage with protesters. Like they protest all the way to Parliament. They don't even come outside and say, you know what, guys, we hear what you're saying. They have a cheat to just have police. It's ridiculous. So
France got a different culture when it comes to that. They have a protest like every weekend, and they have like, it's almost like a tradition. Like everyone's just out there to protest about something every weekend. No, seriously, I'm not even joking. Every Saturday they're out there. When I was there, like they were just protesting about something else. But what's really interesting, the government supports the protest because they actually want to hear the voice. They want to, at least that's what they claim. Yeah. And they want to make changes based on what they're protesting on. But yeah, it's crazy.
I can't have no trust in a lot of these governments, because I've ran for local councillor and I see how they speak, and I'm like, you guys don't get it. A lot of them don't get it. There are obviously genuine people. Do
you think it's just like lack of experience, or like? Yeah, I think for me, I think they just lack experience. So like if they don't have certain experiences, like they have their own perspective of how the world's structured.
Partly, yeah, I think there's a lack of experience, and partly I think it's negative egos. So egos where it's like, I need to get for self. I need to obtain control and power for self.
That's how they've probably been brought up though.
Yeah. So if you've been brought up with that mindset, I can't really blame you. But there are individuals that are amazing, you know. Because
like knowledge is passed on, right? So like, you know, parents will try to pass on certain mindsets and knowledge and perspectives. And obviously they won't fully pass it on because the kid, you know, they still develop their own thing. But I guess like the foundation of what that is will still get passed on regardless.
And that's the key. When people pass down, you know, knowledge and information, do they also pass down morals and integrity and all those things that come with that? Like, you know, Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility, right? So do those kind of moral or ethical kind of values get passed down with the knowledge? So how to apply the knowledge, because that's wisdom, of course. So and that's the thing, is the wisdom doesn't get passed, the knowledge does, and then you interpret it in whatever way you interpret it. We can all be given knowledge, but you need that wisdom. That how do you apply it? How do you? Because we can all have a training, but it's all about the delivery, right? How someone delivers a training. Are they culturally competent? Are they able to see, respond, and also go off track? So if they see an attendee has like some needs pop up, they're able to work with those needs and then come back to knowledge. And it's that thing that we are like, you can't, you can teach it, but you have to. It's not a thing where you teach it like textbook. It's a modeling.
People will apply their own style as well, or their own sort of like being of who they are towards that process, and they'll kind of sort of do it in their own way, because no one's really the same in it. So they'll always add a little bit of their own perspective and values and stuff. But process is definitely really important.
Absolutely. And blueprints. So having blueprints that you can just give to people and they can take and they can use and they can share. I can't stress it.
Yeah.
Because it's not about me, it's about we. You know, it's about something bigger than you. Because you're only here for a limited time. And then you don't know what happens. So you have to...
Do you feel like you want to leave a legacy before you pass away? I'm asking this, it's a selfish question because I've been thinking about it a lot.
Yes and no. Because everything... So to me, what's become very vivid after watching The Matrix is everything is paradox. Everything. Everything is paradox. So like, yes, I want to leave a legacy because people won't forget. They'll remember the values, how you carried yourself, all of that. But no, why am I interested? I'm dead. So why am I interested in me?
So do you know what's interesting though? Yeah, we had this conversation in one of the episodes, but like I was thinking, like Bruce Lee, he left a legacy, but his legacy is like still living on. But his legacy adds a lot of value, like that's gonna carry on. I don't know for how long, because you know maybe there might be like 300, 400 years people might forget about him, but for the moment, like he's still serving us while he's not physically here.
See, the thing is, I don't want it to be about me.
Yeah,
I want it to be about the information, because that's what's the key. The legacy is in the information that you're leaving.
Yeah.
And so I don't care if it's me or someone else. I want to make sure that the information that is being passed out is useful, and the person that the young people or the future generations that take on that information are able to enhance it and create a better quality of living and nurture the world even better. So it's, for me, that's why I'm not really interested in legacy, because I haven't got that kind of ego. I'm not saying it's a bad thing either. I just haven't got that ego where I'm like, I want to have a legacy. I think it can serve you. For instance, if you've got kids, having a legacy is probably very important. Because I haven't got kids, so maybe if I had kids, that might change. But in a me thing, I'm not interested. I'm just interested in giving people information. I think Tupac said it about like he wants to spark the minds that make the change. I'm a bit like that. I don't care about me. I care about we. So I want to spark the minds, so they can start making use of information, making it, enhancing it, making it better. Because that's the beauty of it, isn't it?
So on the kids thing, I've known a lot of people. I still know a lot of people who had kids, and like as parents, as dads, like they completely changed. Like they, like suddenly they want to have a legacy. They want to have all these different things, and I think that's a fascinating and a beautiful thing as well. Just in terms of legacy as well, I think it also depends on how people define what legacy means to them. And I think what definition in general in life, I think is not utilized as much as it should be, because definition just revolves on how we perceive certain things. So when people have a conversation and they talk about, let's say, like, I don't know, like they talk about leadership. They're like, leadership is this, whatever. But I think before they start having a conversation, everyone should go, and I think that should go for everything. Like, what's your definition of that? Because then they can have a more informed conversation, because they know how people perceive stuff. So people are not assuming something in a conversation. So there's like a missing link. And it's going back to linguistics as well.
Bro, and it's mad because everyone wants to be a philosopher now as well. Like, it's crazy. But like, to me, there's a clear definition to life. It's to live. Like
that's what I say, bro. That's what I say.
Experience, learn, have fun, get angry, like learn again, like whatever. But to live, like just live.
I always say like someone's not gonna walk up to a tree and go like, "Yo, why are you alive?" Like the tree's just living,
experiencing your present. And I think that's what it is. Is we're looking for everything outside of us, and it's in us.
And everything that comes, like, I'm also a true believer that everything that came from Earth, it just goes back to Earth until, like, obviously now people trying to fly out into this moon thing and whatever. So they're about to, you know what I'm saying? We're taking things out of here.
In reality, we are the universe. Yeah. If, like how I see it, because obviously when you look at the composition of your body and then you look at the composition of the Earth, it exactly matches. You look at trees, they represent nerves and your lungs and things like that. So there's things in nature that show you. You know, if you could look at a bush, for instance, and see an afro.
Do
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's mad. The thing is because we're so caught up in complexity, we forget that simplicity is the thing that can really teach us, which is just being present and being like, oh, that's what got me to learn about the system. I was like, it's all a bloody illusion. Everything I've been learning is about looking outside of me and acquiring and going there and there. And it's like,
you start looking inside.
In here is everything you need to do. Like, every single cell in your body is intelligent to, like, beyond many computers. And you're like, what? That's a universe in itself. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like, when you start looking at it like that, you're like, whoa. So we're trying to look out. We don't even know what's in. So, and that's what I find beautiful, because once we start understanding, there's a lot to learn about self, about how you manage your emotions, what food you eat, how you relate to others, your energetic field, what religion serves for you, how your mind can work, the free hearts you have, the free brains you have. You're like, there is a lot to learn.
What is that thing when someone goes like, I lost my confidence? Like, where did it go? Like, did they physically leave your body? Like, is it like, you know, can you pick it back up and put it back in? It's like, I just feel like going back to language is really funny when people go, I lost my confidence. Actually, what's happening is, like, they're not utilizing their confidence.
You've
still have it.
Your
they forgot that they have it.
Yeah.
You haven't lost it. You misplaced your confidence.
Yeah.
Temporarily.
Misplaced it where?
It's temporary.
Yeah. Wait, misplaced it where?
When people say I don't know. When people say
Is that? I don't know.
When people say misplaced and lost, I feel like those two things are separate. Like, misplaced means, I'm temporarily away from this thing. When I've lost it, okay, cool shit. Like, there's a possibility I might never see it again. So I'm gonna start saying that. If I say I lost my confidence, I'm just gonna say I misplaced my confidence. So come back next week and I'll find it.
It's true.
But what would happen if you said, I'm not using my confidence right now?
Yeah, it's taking a break or something.
Yeah. But that's more ownership, right? That becomes a bit uncomfortable, because then suddenly, like, if the person's asking to do like a presentation or something, and go, you know what, like, I'm not using my confidence right now, then the person goes, what? But we need to do this presentation, but like, I don't want to use it right now.
How you frame things is so powerful. And it's weird because how I've seen change in people is when they ask themselves better questions or they get more clarity. So you find people are like they're often like looking for loads of different answers, and you're like let's just give an example. Relationships. Okay, loads of people in different types of relationships or whatever it is, and when you're saying, okay, when it comes to relationships, what do you want? And they will give you 100 reasons of what they don't want, and you're like, okay, so I don't want a man to cheat on me, I don't want a man to do this, and you're like, okay. But you realize that because of that, they've been clouded in mess, and they keep getting what they don't want because they haven't made clear what they do want.
Because they just end up being familiar with what they don't want, and that's all they see.
That's all they see. So it's like, that's why I say to people, if you're going to moan to me about the problem, I don't want to know unless you got a solution too. Because once you make clear of what you do want, it's easier. It's like your brain's a sat nav. It needs very clear, concise information. Yeah. So if you're telling me what do you want in a partner? I don't know, because I hear this all the time. I don't know. So if you don't know, how the hell do you think your partner's going to know?
Because what if they came across the partner and they could have had all the qualities they were looking for, but they didn't know what they look like because they haven't took the time to understand it. Yeah.
So once you're clear about what you do know, and that's what planning's about, and why people find like planning so amazing. It's all about mind management. Ask yourself better questions, get clarity on what you do want, and then you can break down the steps of how you get there. Even if it's a simple start of, I'm going to talk to everyone about my new dream.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then that's when they're like, oh my God, I'm having results. How are you having results? Because you're basically programming everyone to think like you. Everyone's like, you're telling everyone, I want to do this. And they're like, oh, well, I know someone who does this, who can help you. I know someone who does. You know what, bro? I got there. How did you get there? It's because you just spoke. You made clear to everyone what you want. And everyone has a heart. Most people will care to like put you in touch with someone else that can get you there. You end up getting there quicker than you think because you become clear. And that's all it is. Like, a lot of the time is clarity.
So one of my favorite questions on clarity is like, do you think about your thinking? You know, it's like they actually like, do people think about their thinking? Like, where does, the origins of it and where it comes from, and then how they would like to change it, or how they would like to shape it? What kind of thinking would they prefer?
I
think
love that
there's
question
because
because this is what we do for in terms of the show that we have. It's not a show, it's a space, but it's all about questioning our thinking.
I love the name as well. I'm gonna say
Dissecting Minds,
yeah.
Because it's all about saying, are we operating in the way that we want to operate, or we're operating on the slave master's way of thinking? Is this the slave master's dream and our nightmare?
It's kind of asking, is this my voice or is this someone else's voice?
Is this me? Am I doing what I want to do? So like, for instance, all these youths that want to get into music, that's not what they want to do. That's what they've been programmed to do. Because if you go on the TV, which is a program, and then on the TV you change channel, channeling is a spiritual concept. To channel something, you're basically evoking demons. It's some deep stuff. Television telling you a vision. They're telling you.
He's loving it. Aladdin's loving it today.
So
he's just sitting there observing it, bro. You know what he's gonna do? He's gonna go through the video after that. He's gonna start slapping it.
But that's what it is. They're telling you a vision. They're programming you to think a certain way, and they're channeling spiritual concepts, which is an energy. So with the black man, with the young black men or young black women, they're sexualizing women, and they're promoting violence within black men to hate yourself. So when you're on the road, you see your fellow brother, and you're like, I don't like you. The chains are still on. And that is the problem. Is that that's not your program, that's their program they want you to have. Even with girls now, they've got all this kind of lip stuff, bum stuff. They're programming you to think like how they want you to think, so then they can make money off of you. What you don't realize is you are in naturally, you are actually quite happy with yourself. But because you're tuned into the program, you become unhappy. And that's the problem. Everything's marketing,
because they're following someone else's voices and they're taking it on board, and then they're trying to basically just live an external validation, which is nothing to do with who they are.
External validation, that's enough. There's just so many people looking for it. You don't need it, you want it.
It's interesting. There's this, I saw, I forgot his name. I was I saw this thing on Insta about this basketball player. And it makes, I think, 20 million, 200 million a year or something like that, something ridiculous. I think it's $20 million. And basically, people on social media were getting onto him because he wasn't wearing anything that's above like $13. And they were saying, where's the designer? Where's the this? Where's whatever? It's like, I'm quite happy, but it's like, and those are the people that's saying it. They're the ones that's programmed to want these things. And then they're blaming another person for not doing that because they got the money. It's like, what kind of shit is that?
It's hysteria, because when they get that, they realize, again, they're chasing feelings, and that actual outfit that they've got gave them like 2 seconds of gratification, and then all of a sudden they're like, I'm still empty. So they're on a rat race of nothing. It's like, if you realized you are it before you even got those things, you won't realize t-shirt doesn't matter. When you meet me, that's gonna matter. You know, that energy exchange, that beauty of like conversation, depth, learning about different things, different cultures, different foods, different ideas, all that kind of stuff. But again, it's the program. The program has us thinking, yes, materialism, it's great. You know, this is what emits to our success or our profile, you know, looking a certain way. And don't get me wrong, you get caught in it. I'm like, yo, I like that. You get caught in it, and that's okay. But it's being able to know, I can step back, or I can observe. I know what's going on here. So that's the thing for me, is that a lot of people don't. It's literally, when I watch Walking Dead or this zombie thing that I've been watching,
you know what?
All of Us Are Dead.
Do you like Walking Dead?
I loved it.
Yeah, I love
because
it
it wasn't about the zombies. It was about survival and how people work in survival. But what it made me know is that we're in Walking Dead right now. Because people are in this court of public opinion where they're judging people. They don't understand about no one's life, but they're quick to shun them and all these things.
Yeah, that's a beautiful metaphor. Walking Dead's a good example.
Very, very, very important. And again, what's it, Nedge? The guy, one of the bad guys originally. The Bat guy.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I don't think it's Nedge. Is it Nedge?
I never watched it.
Yeah.
But he was like a bad guy, but then I was like, hey, I actually like him, because this is what society does. It could portray you as a bad guy, but then once you understand the story, you're like, oh, is he a bad guy? Or is he just surviving? It's interesting.
So like, we didn't chill. Everyone's got a story, and it's kind of like that thing of like try to understand where someone's coming from rather than just going this person's that or whatever, because everyone's got a reason for doing something, even if what they're doing it's not necessarily.
I think that's why I love like superhero movies. Like I'm a big superhero movie fan, yeah? And like people look at me and think, oh, you're childish, you're like Superman and yada yada. But when I say story and its characters that what appeal to me, that's one of the biggest things is villains, and these people will just do bad things, and you're looking at the story thinking you kind of have a point. Like Thanos, he has a point, or Killmonger. I think he's in Black Panther. He had a point.
He had a very good point.
And it's like it makes you like
that's happening now in the real world.
So you're like you're right.
Yeah,
what's that amount? And then that's when it turns into a thing where you watch a movie and you're like, cool, I agree. I see your point. Now I get to choose what side I'm on based on how I think. And if I meet someone that is now on the opposite side, I understand why you think that. It's not how I think, but I understand it.
Yeah,
and that creates like almost like a unity of understanding. And again, that's why I love movies, man.
and that's the thing, because people are not their behaviors. You know, like your behavior is an expression of a need, an unmet need, or a need that is met. So what we do in the public is we kind of judge people on their behavior, and it's like that's not them, that's them responding to a need, you know. And so some people to fulfill their needs, they will kill, they will steal, they'll do whatever. But if we saw it in that way and you was able to meet their need, like if you had a need for love,
you wouldn't have to do some of these,
then you wouldn't have to do it. And so that's what I find myself when I'm working with a lot of young people. I'm able to quickly see the need and respond and actually pick up quite quickly. Oh, you have a need for significance, or you have a need for certainty, or you have a need for excitement, which is uncertainty, or love and connection, or you want to contribute in some way. So you can easily meet their needs. And then what happens is you find that behavior changes into a more positively framed behavior because they've got their need met in a different way. And it's the same thing with lots of heroes and villains. There's this kind of thing around good versus bad, and heroes and villains, and right and wrong. And it's like, that's the problem, because in another perspective, we could be in the wrong. You know, like us as the West right now, we're looking at Russia and we're like, the Russians, man, they're pagans, but we don't know what their perspective is on us. Yeah, well, you've gone and conquered the world and you want to try and conquer us too. We're not having it. So it could be like, oh, actually,
they might be coming from a certain place.
I think growing up is realizing there's no such thing as good or bad. It's only perspective.
Actually,
I agree with that.
I like that.
Speaking of like superheroes, what would you say your superpower is?
Got a few. So I've got my superpower is communication, without a doubt. Like I can communicate to anyone. I've got an unspoken one, which is like, it's a weird one, but if I get drunk or anything like that, I can channel stuff. Spiritually, I can experience, like if I'm speaking to someone, I can know if they've got people that have passed and stuff like that.
Wait, quickly, I want to ask, do you believe in that thing of have you heard of that thing where people say, oh, if you take mushrooms or whatever, that's
DMT.
the real world, and what we are living right now is basically a drug?
From my perspective, I can't tell you, but from what I've spoken to other people about, because I've never done it, but I've always been interested, because I'm like, it's very interesting. But I got a friend who had been through all sorts of trauma, and she took mushrooms, DMT, mate. The thing she come out with, I learned in years. It took me years.
Oh shit.
She come out with stuff in a moment, like one night. So I can't deny it, because everyone that I know who has gone on those journeys and done those kind of circles, as they call them, they change.
Yeah, they come back different, because they
come back different.
They have I think drugs in general are like really interesting, and I'm talking about all kinds of like alcohol, all these different type of drugs. I think they're really interesting because they not necessarily just alter mind, because like if a mind got altered as well, right, we were able to see something that might not even be there in first place. And I think that's fascinating how people get to experience these things and they realize how relevant certain things are, and they open up to new life experiences. And actually, I think in America, they allow doing therapy with MDMA, and what they would do. So people that had PTSD, right, they would basically give them a blanket, give them MDMA, and they would do a therapy session. But apparently that had the best results ever when it came to treating PTSD.
Wow.
Because they were able to just...
I agree, bro. Like anything, drugs that are used, it's how you use them. So like, for instance, alcohol, for instance, spirits is in the word. So
it's done it again.
how you use, because like in certain tribes, in Kemet, for instance, they used to use alcohol to connect to their past spirits, ancestors, to be able, they would go around a fire, but there's a whole ceremony around it. So it's just how it's used. Where now it's just been used to kind of spiritually kind of lock you in.
Do you know what else is interesting about alcohol? I've learned this recently. So apparently the strength that we have now was never meant to, alcohol was never meant to be that strong. Because I think up until 200 years ago, distilled alcohol didn't even exist like that.
Yeah.
So it used to go up to like, I think like maybe 12% or 13% max, so something around there. And yeah, it never used to go higher than that. So actually like learning now what alcohol, this distilled alcohol is doing and what effects it's going to have is still not, we haven't reached the peak of it yet.
I mean, I remember when I used to drink spirits, I literally became other spirits. So I got arrested one time and the officer was confused because he was saying, mate, was you on drugs? I was like, nope, just alcohol, just spirits. He's like, you were saying you're the devil. I was like, probably was, because of my subconscious stuff that was going on, and then other spirits coming in and controlling you. And when I saw the CCTV of what I was doing, I was like, yep, there was a spirit in there. I was on the floor doing some demonic thing, running up a car, grabbing an officer, biting someone, like mad stuff. But this was trauma mixed with me not so subconsciously I'm open. When you don't deal with your trauma and then you get into that realm of smoking, drinking or anything like that,
the trauma
you
will
open
go
you
with
up
you.
to spirits, and then what happens is you get taken over and you start doing some mad stuff. Because the worst thing about it is I don't remember the whole night. Don't remember nothing. And I'm like, I woke up and I saw Talk to Frank.
Because because like how you meant to, but that's the interesting bit. So it's like if you're not remembering or you're not aware of what you're doing, who's doing it? You know what I'm trying to say? That's a really interesting way of looking at it.
Spirits is a real thing, and alcohol. When people drink alcohol, especially spirits, I don't touch them now. I know that you're entering another world you don't even realize. And a lot of people I spoke to have stopped drinking. They're saying, there's something about drinking. These things can lead to you when you wake up and you don't know what's happened, or a lot of the time, a lot of like trauma or abuse starts happening when you're drinking alcohol. So we've got to be very careful with these things.
I like that. So cool. We're gonna start wrapping up. But before we do, is there like anything you'd like to promote, if you want to? Because obviously, so we have a small community, but we have a community of people we really appreciate and who are like on similar journeys, just about understanding life and philosophy and mindset and all these different things. So if there's anything you want to promote to that community, feel free to do so.
At the moment, not really, to be fair.
Can I promote Dissecting Minds for you?
Oh yeah, Dissecting Minds. we've got the space where we just chat. It's all about healing predominantly the black community, because the black community is underrepresented in everything. And there was a level of conditions in recent history that there is a real intention of what they did to the black community, spiritually, emotionally, financially, economically, in every kind of avenue. So Dissecting Minds is about opening up different questions so that people can go, oh, didn't realize it from that angle. It's love very that. Kind of anti-systemish kind of thing, but again, it's more about loving people, helping people to explore themselves through different questions, different topics, just kind of, because it's about questioning everything you get. Like I don't just take anything that I get. I always think, why is that? And I don't deal with history. His story. It's not.
That's my one. I always say that one. His story. I always say that one. That's my.
I don't deal with it. I deal with the past.
Someone said something interesting to me today.
It's all men stuff.
They said, if like a story is based on someone else's memory, why should he trust it?
Yeah, we can't. we have to basically take what we can that can serve us in now, but also living now. So then we can enable ourselves to be able to see, okay, in this realm, because a lot of what we're learning from the past isn't necessarily useful for this present, especially with the current kind of chains that we've got upon us. So it's important to take what we can from ancestrals in terms of like connecting with nature and how we treat thy neighbor and things like that. But in terms of like some of their ideals around, you know, how they treat women and things like that, we got to get rid of that. And then look at now, and also kind of like still embrace masculinity and femininity, because I can see there's a big attack on masculinity and femininity.
There's a big gap between the two. They're not in synchronization. They're very far apart.
And if I'm honest, I feel like me being able to be like, yo, I'm a man, I'm masculine. There's like people look at me side eye. I'm like, what?
yeah.
It's what you're born as, isn't it? So, but yeah, no, it's about, and I just think that now we're in a time where we have to really kind of take care of ourselves. Because
so, look, again, I say these things, and you know, these are the things. This is like knowledge and information I pick up, and it doesn't mean it's true. You know, it's just something I pick up, but it's interesting, and some of it makes sense sometimes. So there's a big conversation happening right now. You know, speaking of young people, that apparently, like in the near future, we're not going to have as many young people as we did before. But that's mainly because, and this is going to sound weird, I'm not dissing the feminine movement at all and whatnot, but they're saying that because women are becoming more educated and they're becoming more career driven and they're focused on the careers and whatnot, they are less likely to have children now, because they might be, you know, focus on that till they're 40,
so the
and sometimes it might be too late. So they might want to have kids later on, but it might be too late.
Yeah,
or sometimes they might not want to have kids because
they want to fulfill their career paths.
Yeah, so they're saying on that prediction, like we will have less young people in the future, and young people are like basically the most important piece of the puzzle to make the world
continue.
Continue. So yeah, that stuff is interesting.
That actually makes sense logically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't got nothing to promote. I'm just other than Dissecting Minds, if people want to check it out. It's more about just kind of doing what you can do in your own community. Yeah. And if ever anyone wants to link up, let's do it, man.
Yeah, I love that. So the question we always check out with is, Aladdin, you want to drop it this time?
What's up? So?
You want to drop it? Yeah, go and drop it, bro.
I'm gonna say how it was originally said when we first started. I'm not gonna change.
No pressure, bro.
I'm not gonna change up like Leo has been doing so much. Yeah. So the question is, if you had a chance to say one thing to 7.8 billion people, one thing, what would you say?
Very easy.
Go on. Okay.
Love yourself.
Yeah, Justin Bieber said it first for sure.
Pardon?
Justin Bieber said it first for sure.
Yeah, no, just love yourself, man. Like, the answers are with you. Like, you don't need to look outside of you. Take time with you, because how you will know is if you have time with yourself and you can't have peace with yourself, then you know that something's up. If you need distractions like TV, music, radio, if you can't have silent peace, then there's an issue. So it's about going within.
Do you know what's interesting on that as well? Like we're basically done anyways, but some people, and I might have even been one of them back in the day, but some people are not comfortable with silence and just slowing down. And for some people, it's scary. So some people might know that there might be something's up, but they might be scared to just slow down. And
yeah,
I hope they can find the bravery and the courage to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I was one of those people. Avoiding all the time. We're always avoiding ourselves, but ultimately, it's all about you, because you were it, and it is everything. So you're everything and nothing, which is beautiful, because you're everything. You're the universe, you're cells, you're the computers, you're everything that creates this world around you, but you're also nothing too, because when you die and you go into the cosmos, or if you do, what are you?
Nothing.
And that humbles you, because it just makes you think, okay, well, I am everything, but I'm also nothing. That's the paradox of life. So I was saying paradox has become very interesting, because it's like you are everything, but you're also nothing. So it's like with anything that's going on in the world, it's like, this is crap, but also this is good if you allow it to be. It's like there's a double meaning. It's just what you choose. So it's just
They're
about
the same thing.
Yeah, it's just what you choose.
Yeah.
So there's no bad or good. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. If you allow it to be useful for you, you can. If you don't, it's also not. Yeah. But that not doing it might also be good for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, so that's why I don't overthink it. Life's a mystery. You just flow with it. That's why I'm saying when it comes to I don't give advice because I don't need to. I just need to remind you of who you are.
Yeah.
And that's it. Remind you who you are. The answers are with you. And then whatever comes out, you're going to learn and flourish with that, or you'll die. And that's it.
I love that. Yeah, man. Much gratitude for coming and being on it. And I'm looking forward to having more conversations off the podcast.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because podcast is one thing, but yeah.
Yeah, man. Pleasure. Thank you for having me, bros.
Come on.
Dope.